Chapter 10. The second letter, Beth. He produced Beth, and referred it to wisdom. He crowned it, combined and formed with it the moon in the universe, the first day of the week, and the right eye of man. Seper Yetzirah, 22. The second Hebrew letter is Beth, one of the 7 double letters, corresponding to our letter B. Hieroglyphically, it stands for the mouth of man and is referred to wisdom. But since out of the mouth of man proceedeth both wisdom and folly, this letter is called double. Its radical meaning is a house or birthplace, and it is used with this meaning throughout the Bible. For instance, Bethel is the house of God, Elizabeth the house of Eliza, Bethlehem the house of bread, Baalbeth the house or temple of the sun, etc. Its symbolic meaning, derived from the house as a birthplace, is both the womb of nature and of woman, from which all comes forth. From this meaning we deduce the idea of a sanctuary or inner shrine, or that secret place where we can retire without fear of disturbance, the closet into which we can go and, having shut the door, pray to our Father in secret. Out of this sanctuary come forth the true characteristics which make us what we are. Also from it issues the inspiration and instruction given us from the divine in the silence. Hence Beth expresses everything that emanates from this mysterious retreat. B, called BIT, pictures and names the be or by and means being, existence, names life, bios. The colonial priests of a remote time sent a present from Delphi to England, being a miniature temple in the form of a hive, carved out of beeswax. This was a primal picture, which in the double meanings, and for the wonderment of the ignorant, was always the house of the god Be, and making the Hebrew word for the original house of God as BTH, which says be deity, and is also their alphabetic name of their letter B, showing that our B is named in this Beth. The universal picture language Bao, which Egyptian deities carry to identify themselves, is made as an elongated B, and names the Be priesthood that was the shooter of the A light or arrow, the Celtic Sais. Just as man, as the active father principle, is represented by Aleph, so in Beth we find inner, passive or feminine principle, the mother force, through which his characteristics are brought forth. While both man and woman express both Aleph and Beth, man is more Aleph than Beth and woman is more Beth than Aleph. The 3 primal meanings of Beth, the house, the mouth and the womb, are therefore but different expressions of the idea of bringing forth through the mother principle, for out of the house or inner sanctuary of the heart is brought forth man's spiritual nature. Out of the womb is brought forth man's physical body, and out of the mouth man himself brings form his ideas or thought creations. For of the abundance of the heart his mouth speaketh. The Beth represents hieroglyphically the heaven and the earth. It also represents unity made manifest in space and stability, and life made manifest by movement. It represents the Spirit of God born upon the waters and the fecundation of matter by Spirit. The second commandment. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. Exodus, XX, 4. Since number 2 is the symbol of duality and marks the first step in the differentiation of the one, nothing can manifest objectively upon the mundane plane without duality. That which appears upon the lower planes is but the shadow of the unseen reality. Hence the second commandment deals with the ever-present danger into which unenlightened man is only too apt to fall, namely, mistaking the shadow for the reality. Therefore the commandments begin with a warning against mistaking the reflection for the substance, against making an idol out of material things and worshiping it. Note that the text says, "Thou shalt not make unto thee." Others may carve statues or images for us, but ourselves can make us create an idol out of the shadow. The commandment is not to be taken in the literal sense that we should never carve an image or symbol of any holy ideal, principle, or thing, a custom common in the Christian churches today. For when properly used, such images or symbols serve to recall and impress more vividly upon the mind the unseen reality for which they stand. They also have a mystical power in themselves. The commandment means far more. It deals with all that number 2 expresses. The overshadowing God consciousness, fully comprehending the law of the descent of the light into chaos, and realizing all the pitfalls and mistakes into which man was likely to fall during his long pilgrimage, gave him at the outset a solemn warning against building up, through the creative power of his newly acquired self-conscious thought, earthly images of the divine, and through the ignorance and darkness of the land in which he toiled, falling down to worship them. Even today many savage tribes have created thought-form elementals which have become tribal gods, many of which must be propitiated by offerings of blood. Such worship of the false would lead man age after age farther and farther from the worship of the spiritual light, which was to lead him out of the darkness of Egypt if he would but worship the true instead of an image of his own creation. The duality of shadow and substance is but a passing manifestation belonging to this day period and will cease to exist when the shadow has been indrawn into the reality. Since all God's creations in heaven above, in the earth beneath, and in the waters under the earth are images of divine and immutable realities, if we hold fast to this thought and through the image seek to come into harmony with its reality, we will find our path of attainment a joyous and fascinating journey through a wonderful country full of objects, each of which represents a marvelous God mystery, instead of a wearisome climb up a rocky pathway through chilling darkness, dull misery, suffering, and despair. The words, "the waters under the earth," give the key to the understanding of the commandment. Waters, tossed by every wind that blows, symbolize the changing and unstable conditions of earthly manifestation. They are the unstable and varying conditions which, in the sense of back of, are underneath every earth condition. I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers known the children unto the 3rd and 4th generation of them that hate me, and shewing mercy unto thousands of them that love me, and keep my commandments. The Lord thy God is a jealous God in the sense that nothing can stand between him and man's love for the divine. Anything which diverts man's allegiance from him or is placed before him must be swallowed up in the not. The latter part of this commandment may sound like a threat. In reality it is but a setting forth of the law and its aspect as karma. First, it is plainly stated that we are not to make images, mistake them for realities, and worship them. Then the inevitable result of so doing is set forth. Is not the world today suffering from the iniquities of the fathers, or the disobedience to this second commandment? This first and primal rule of the plane of differentiation or duality. Have not our fathers mistaken the shadow for the substance and fallen down and worshipped the golden calf? Have they not graven images of that which the light revealed to them instead of the light? Do we not today worship various man-made images of God? Do we not worship tradition, a graven image of the revelation of the light, instead of turning our eyes to the light ourselves and knowing that it will lead us out of the bondage of our fathers' false images and conceptions of life, its needs and requirements, into a realization of our spiritual heritage? Esoterically, this means that by his misuse of his creative powers, man has impregnated the aura of the world upon the three planes with his mistakes, and these must finally manifest upon the fourth or physical plane. Hence the children of man will suffer until his false images have had their day upon earth, have manifested their human origin, have proved their fallibility, and have been replaced by the true worship of the one reality, the divine light. Those who hate the Lord are those who reverse divine love or who refuse to work in harmony with the law. They suffer unto the third and fourth generation, not in the sense of a punishment for something their fathers did, but because they continue to worship the graven images handed down by their fathers. They give their lives and the mighty power of their thought to preserve the images which are literally graven upon the Akashic records by their fathers' misconceptions of the one God. Variation and progression are the basic principles of all evolution, an ever-changing manifestation and an ever-widening comprehension of unity in the manifold expressions of the one God. The same divine and inexorable law must show mercy to thousands, an indefinite term expressing a vast number of those who love the reality, who seek the light, who endeavor to keep the commandments and live in harmony with the law as it is revealed to them, instead of worshiping the graven images of tradition. Mercy is shown us, even when we falter and fail, so long as we give our love and allegiance to the one God and earnestly strive to follow the light which has brought us out of Egypt and out of the house of bondage, the senses.